Good morning all and a warm welcome into the Punters Lounge live. What a day we have ahead for us on both sides of the Tasman. It's an absolute cracker in Australia with racing from Sydney and also Melbourne as we start to build into the spring carnivals there. And in New Zealand we take you to Matamata and also Harwood. Plenty to look forward to. Brought to you by Valachi Downs, standing Zakinto in Savile Row. The Punters Lounge live, we take you to Stephen Hunt for the first look at the markets today. Stephen, good morning. What's doing in Petone?
Good morning, Matt. Well, it's been raining all week here in Petone/Wellington. It's a little bit overcast today, but we don't have to worry about that because there's no racing at Trentham. But there's been plenty of rain to talk about in the last 48 hours up and down the country, and I think that's going to make a key lead going into some of these races this afternoon. During the week, a lot of punters have targeted the two cup races, the Matamata Cup and also the Egmont Cup. Just in the last 24 hours, demonetisation looks set to start favourite with the slow 8 that's come up at Matamata today in front of Sheriff. Both of them $3 each of two right now, but I believe demonetisation will start favourite. The fact that it does have wet track form already on its CV, demonetisation. $4.20 when betting commenced during the week. He's now into $3, which I've just touched on, including a $17,000 bet this morning at $3.40. So he is now a $3 equal favourite in the Cup. And down at Egmont, the Hardwater, the Egmont Cup, ladies first, as soon as betting commenced on Wednesday, Matt, they came out of trees to punt the Alan Sharrock runner in ladies first. Opened at $4.20. It's been backed into $3.40. Billy Pin does the right and gets the claim down. It looks to be a real local bully horse today, ladies first.
All right, Stephen, thank you very much. We will be chatting to Alan Sharrock today on the phone about ladies first. We'll also have Roger James along, the man behind one of the greatest mares that I've witnessed in Silent Achiever. He'll saddle up Sheriff this afternoon, the James and Wellwood team. A couple of other solid chances across the program too, and we'll touch base with Roger about them. Ladies first with Alan Sharrock. He'll also have Art Deco in today, a big day for the Sharrock stable apprentice, Widemu Pin, riding the Auckland Cup winner in today's Egmont Cup. 4 Group 1s out of Caulfield today. Ben Ascari from Racing.com will join us on the Punters Lounge live to take us through all of those. Looking forward to that. And yes, it is Everest Day. From every angle, we'll have Brad Gray to talk about greatest sprints in terms of prize money in the Southern Hemisphere. We head to the Central North Island at Matamata today with a racing card coming in from there. And we're also going to head off to the full card preview in from Harwood today. Well, looking forward to the next 90 minutes of the show here, and with the team at Valachi Downs, Savile Row and Zakinto. We thank them for jumping on board with us today. We'll be taking you to Stephen Hunt and our respective on-course teams later on in the program. But our first cab off the rank is to set the scene for Matamata today. Betting code 2, it is 14 degrees is the high with some morning showers. They will clear and become fine. Southerlies dying out. The track condition there today is a slow 8, and the running rail in the true position at Matamata today with a 9-race card. The first starts off 17 minutes after 12 today with the feature race number 6, the listed Team Whelan's Matamata Cup, to be run over 1,600 metres and a $50,000 prize money. The second of our meetings today comes in from Harwood. We'll be taking you there. We go to Egmont with a 9-race card. The first there is set to go at 25 minutes to 1, 12 degrees. Is the high becoming fine with southeasterlies easing the track condition at dead 5, and the running rail is in the true position today. The feature there, the Group 3 Rich Hill Stud Taranaki Breeders' Stakes for the fillies and mares, an $80,000 price tag with that, and the South Taranaki Club Egmont Cup, that will line up as race number 6 at 3:30 this afternoon. So looking forward to the two previews from our respective meetings today. Bevan Sweeney is on track for us at Egmont, and we've got Brendan Popplewell at Matamata for us this afternoon. And later on trackside, we'll be taking in the full coverage from both of our venues in Melbourne and Victoria. We will be taking you to Caulfield. Looking forward to the 4 Group 1s there on the program today with the Punters Lounge live. So looking forward to it. You can head to tab.co.nz and get all of the latest information in terms of the markets. But right now on the Punters Lounge live, we'll take a break. On the other side, we'll get right into it.
Racing now. Zonza in front now. Zonza with Benaria coming at her. Zonza by 3/4 to Benaria and 2 Sugars, and the New Zealand mare is too good, Zonza.
Silent Achiever broke away now with 100 metres to go. Fiorente on the inside, but Silent Achiever, the mare does it again.
Great field, and she was better than them. You know, she's been close to it a long time.
Here's Sheriff. Sheriff went up and hit the lead from Gundown Joe's Legacy, Beauregard. So, but Sheriff, a very good horse in the making.
Well, today we're going to see how right Tony Lee is with the Sheriff lining up second up for Roger James, and he joins us live on the phone here on the Punters Lounge Live. Roger, good morning to you. We just turned back time to a couple of your Australian wins. You've got Sheriff lining up today. In terms of the operation at home, things starting to get pretty exciting. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Matt. Yeah, it's an exciting time of the year. You know, unlike probably the last 4 or 5 years, I've got a nice team around me, I believe.
Well, Sheriff, first of all, I suppose, Roger, is how did he wake up this morning? Is everything all good?
Yeah, look, he woke up, looked out the door and thought, I don't know whether I want to go to the races in this rain, but his boss has made a decision for him, and I don't know whether it's the right one, but I took everything into account and thought, well, if we're sitting in Sydney in the autumn and we get a similar track, we won't really know whether he's capable or not. So we're going there as a learning curve more than anything. I don't think he will be at his best on it, but other than that, I think he looks well placed in the race. He's got very little weight on his back. He's got a nice draw, and I think the mile at the stage of his preparation will be right up his alley. The track conditions will probably take the brilliance off him, but let's wait and see.
In terms of what you have been handed, Roger, the cards that you have been dealt, what would be the ideal scenario for him in running? Where would you like to see him settle?
Oh, look, as with every horse, I think you get the best out of them if they get into a rhythm. And, you know, I'm a great believer in not changing horses' patterns because of so-called track bias or weather conditions or whatever. I do believe you find the best by letting them get into a rhythm, and that's what Danielle will be asked to do. And look, he's got brilliance on top of the ground, and you know, probably enough brilliance to win a lot of races. But you know, we've just got to hope that the track doesn't dent that today.
Is this the sort of style that you think that we're going to see through his career, get back and run home over the further trips?
I don't necessarily say he has to get back. I just want him to get into a rhythm. From a 3-draw, he might bounce and be midfield or just ahead. We wouldn't know. You know, I don't say he has to get back. We haven't seen a lot of him, and you know, we've been learning as we've gone. We've been trying to teach him to stay all in 3 runs, his first 3 runs of his life, and we've probably ridden him conservatively to try and get that result. But he's growing up now, and he's got to put his big boy pants on shortly, and you know, we really want to know what we are playing with.
You've got 2 other runners in today at Matamata. You've got Dream On and Elate. What do you make of those 2, Roger?
Look, Dream On's been going solid races, and I think a little cut in the ground will really help her. You know, her runs have both been good. Elate, I really struggled with this morning as to whether to run her. She had 2 runs on a wet track last year, and the results weren't great. We are not certain whether it was the track conditions or whether it was her still learning. She did draw wide on both occasions. Her work on Tuesday morning, you just wouldn't wish to see a 3-year-old filly work better. So we're going into that guessing a little bit too, but again, we've got to find out whether she does or doesn't, and probably better to do that today in a race like today's rather than at group enlisted level.
Okay, she draws barrier number 2 in race number 4. Just want to take you to Harbour, where you've got 1 runner in there. Mon Recur for the punters at home. How much improvement has there been in your eyes since the first up effort?
Look, it's hard to quantify improvement with her because she doesn't tell you a lot on the training track. Having said that, I'm happy with her, and I think really with a little bit different luck on season debut, she would have been hard to beat. She was a while getting clear and found the line very, very strongly the last bit. So, again, she looks well placed today, but and will handle the track. But she will be better when she goes a mile.
Okay, Roger, what's your best of the day?
Hard one with the track conditions. Had it been a good track, I would have named one of the Matamata horses, but probably I'd have to go Monmouth.
All right, Roger, all the best today. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Matt.
There's Roger James. Yes, we saw some of the wonderful horses that he's had along the years. Silent Achiever springs to mind, and and the Valachi Downs colours that bring us the Punters Lounge live this morning. We've got Alan Sharrock coming up very shortly. We're going to talk to him about all of his runners on the card. He's got Art Deco lining up there, as well as Ladies First. That's all coming up.
I can call you Betty, and Betty, when you call me, you can call me out. Call me
We'll be chatting to Alan Sharrock in just a moment here on the Punters Lounge Live, brought to you by Savile Rowan Zakinto, standing at Valachi Downs. Of course, we've got some jackpots coming in today. We've got a quaddie in from Matamata, a $25,000 jackpot into that. The quaddie at Caulfield's almost at $300,000. So if you'd like to head on to tab.co.nz, you'll find that information under the jackpots tab. Alan Sharrock's on the phone. Good morning, Alan. Welcome back to the Punters Lounge Live. How's the weather up the coast this morning?
Yeah, just had a squally shower, Matt, sort of come back from Howrah towards New Plymouth. Whether they got it, I don't know, mate, but it's floating around, but I don't think it's going to come to much. There's more wind than rain. Yeah. All
right, we'll get straight into it and talk about Ladies First in the Egmont Cup. She shortened the market today, Alan. Take me back to her last start effort. Most importantly, what did you make of it?
Oh, I was disappointed, Matt, initially. But in saying that, she was probably ridden out of her comfort zone and no fault of Lisa's. Probably got on her bike a little bit early and she just ran out of legs. The hood goes on, the tongue tie goes back on, and she's worked super this week. So, yeah, I'm expecting a big run from her.
Is she going as good as what she did before the Auckland Cup?
She appears to be. Yeah, she does. Actually, her work Tuesday was exceptional. So, and Saturday before. So, she's going to be a fit mare. She'll present well today, and a little bit out of the dig out of the track won't worry her as well. So, yeah, I'm positive of a good run today.
Widemu Pin's got a busy afternoon, and he draws barrier number 11 with Ladies First. What would you like to see at the start?
Oh, I would say, mate, she'll race midfield. Hopefully, get a little bit of cover in the run. Yeah, I don't think we want to be bustling her out of the barriers first on back in the hood. So she got up in the hood on Tuesday. She doesn't appear to rip and tear in it, but we'll let her find her feet early in the race.
Let's talk about Art Deco. Draws barrier number 1. Widemu to do the riding aboard her also. Where do you sort of rate her in terms of her chance today?
Mate, I wouldn't dismiss her. She's run 1:35 for a mile. She can rip along a little bit. Tidy field this year, Matt, I thought. But, we've got a one gate, and I think Wirrama will get a cosy run in the race. If she's good enough, she'll present somewhere in the straight anyway.
All right, $9 and $3 it goes around in race number 8. Just take me back to race number 4. You line up Mars Bars up the top of the book. The first up effort was exceptional. Did that come as a surprise to you, or was it an expectation?
No, very, very good mare. Bled 12 months ago. She'd worked up good. Actually, the last gallop before she raced, she went terrible. And I'd fobbed my owners off a wee bit. But she is a talented mare, and didn't surprise me what she did. She can run a sectional, especially if she's held up for the last run. So she presents good today. She's very, very bright, and I've given her a month between races. But there's always that second up bogey in the back of your mind, and it's hard to beat. So, but she's coming into the same grade with a kilo less. If she gets half the right parks, you get it. Ava, she's got to be a chance.
You got a Son of Swiss Ace in the last race, Field of Fire. Talk me through its first up effort.
Yeah, I liked him first up. He was sort of on his bike at the 700 looking to run into the race, and Wiremu ran into a brick wall, took all the momentum out of the horse. So I dismissed that run as it was good Tuesday. And in a loose field, he's a good each-way chance in the last, Matt.
OK, Alan, which horse today would you be most disappointed if it didn't run well?
The ladies first.
All right, Al, thanks for your time. Good luck.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.
There he is, Alan Sharrock, straight to the point. Just what we'd like here on the Punters Lounge Live. Stephen Hunt, over to you. We've just chatted to Roger James and Alan Sharrock with their respective chances in the big races. We've got Sheriff and Ladies First. Is there any movement around those two? You've already touched on Ladies First. Is the market giving us a lead that she'll be winning today?
Absolutely, Matt. As soon as betting commenced on Wednesday, they came in droves for Ladies First. At $3.40 now trading, so you could have got as high as $4.20 during the week. Just touching on Roger James's runners, Sheriff very well back during the week, $5,000 bet at a $2.80 price, even though it slightly drifted to $3 on the back of the warm support on demonetisation. Monrecur and King Cougar in the race 7, rating 82, 1400 at Harwood. Just a real matchup between those two races at the moment, going for dollar as money invested in the last 48 hours. Monrecur versus King Cougar. It'll be interesting to see which one starts favourite there. And Dream On earlier in the program, Matamata for Roger James, had been very well supported this morning, got as high as 8, now trading at 7. We've just opened a special, an Alan Sharrock double. Matt, there you see there on option 430, selection 1, Mars Bars Ladies First, $15 for both those individuals to take out their respective races at Harwood today. You take a normal multi, it's around about $13, so we've put a bit of juice in there to 15.
All right, thank you very much, Stephen. We'll chat to you later on in the show about our Harwood and Matamata markets. But after this on the Punters Lounge Live, we're going to turn back time to some historics from one of the great racecourses, Caulfield.
I thought Winx was the only thing to get crowds to the races, but they've put on a $10 million race. Let's hope it delivers.
Here we go for the Everest, the lights on. To the big roar of the crowd, they're off and racing. Red Cell's burst clear at the 100 metres. Vega Magic Brave Smash running on, then Tulip. But Red Cell, he's home in the Everest. Red Cell leads all the way.
Red Cell has won the Tab Everest and $5.8 million. James Harron, you walked in on this course today and you saw what excitement the investment generated.
Yeah, Greg, what a day, what a thrill. Hats off, Peter Valandis, ATC, racing East 5 Wales team. This is like nothing I've ever seen in a race course before, ever in my life. Absolutely unbelievable.
Two lengths further back, Akabil, Gannicky, Walk and Diatribe. Then Prince Benbara as they neared the corner, and Oval Office last of all. A line moved up to put some answer to the leader, Redute's Choice, who still has a little bit left in the tank. Testarossa, Oliver's just waiting and waiting. Redute's Choice left the fence. There's the run for Testarossa if he's got enough. A line coming at them on the outside with Pins. They reach the 200 and Testarossa sprinting very fast has moved up and has gone to the lead over Redute's Choice. Cassidy had to pull the whip, and then Pins. It's Testarossa clear though. Redute's Choice is coming again. Testarossa has to find. Redute's digs. He lunges and wins. Redute's Choice beat Testarossa. A magnificent guineas.
An absolute ripper, Redute's Choice, Testarossa. Now we see the sidelines coming through here in New Zealand and Australia, two very potent sires. Let's turn back a little bit further. Our Maze K, one of the greats.
At the head of the others, then over on the inside to Vernell Cheviot. Flying Spurs a long way back, and Principality last of all as they sweep the turn. 400 metres left to go, and they straighten up. Our Maze K has dashed away. Our Maze K 2 lengths ahead in second place. Strategic down the outside, followed by Rivada. And down the outside is Octagonal, but Our Maze K is well clear. 150 metres out, this champion. Our Maze K is going to street them in the Caulfield Guineas. It's gone further ahead, Our Maze K. And Our Maze K, 13 from 17, won the Guineas easily. Ravada second, Octagonal third, followed by Vernell El Quahira's son. Next, Burrito.
A couple of weeks later, of course, Octagonal was good enough to turn the tables on Our Maze K. And look, we don't want to put a down buzz on your Saturday morning, but they were great horses. Lonro and Sunline. Let's take a look.
Sunline coming to the 600 metres, doing it like the Sunline of old at the moment. Used it off a length and a half away. Turtle Lonro. Beatman hasn't asked for the big one yet, and they've got away to Distinctly Secret. Sunline came to the turn by a length and a half. Excitement rippling around Caulfield now. The great mare's going to corner with a good lead on Lonro. Sunline for home. Caulfield is erupting now. She's by 3. Lonro's giving chase, but the great mare at the 200. Charles went for the whip. Lonro's got some work to do now. Under the whip, he stretches hard. It's Sunline by a length. Lonro trying to level up. A great battle. Sunline, Lonro. Lonro's getting to the great mare, and Lonro beats Sunline by a neck. 4 lengths Houston of Republic Lass, Prize Gem.
Good talking point, isn't it? Who was better, Sunline versus Lonro? Ben Ascari from Racing.com joins us. Some absolutely ripping horses there racing over Caulfield over the last 20 and 30 years, Ben, and today's no exception. Good morning to you.
Yeah, what an outstanding day of racing we've got ahead of us. Thanks for having me on, Matt. And 2 champions they were, Lonro versus Sunline. What a match race that was. What a call from Greg Miles. And I think Sunline was a little past her best by that stage, wasn't she? But she was still very gallant that day and made a very good horse, so worked to beat her.
Track conditions today, what are horses racing on there, and what's the weather pattern been like this week?
It's just another picture-perfect Saturday in Melbourne. We seem to have this pattern at the moment where we're getting a bit of rain early in the week, Monday, Tuesday, and then things are just fining up by the weekend. It's 23, 24 degrees, blue skies, clouded in the sky at the moment. Track's good. By race time, we'll probably be on, I think we're a good 4 at the moment, but we'll almost certainly be a good 3 for most of the day today at Caulfield. So it'll be a firm track. Should be a fair track, and I'm looking forward to what is an outstanding 10-race program.
The Newcastle visitor out of the very much in-form Chris Lee's base, Smart Melody, lines up as the favourite in the 1,000 guineas this afternoon. What do you make of this market, and does it deserve to be short as it is? We've got it $2.70.
Yeah, I don't think she does deserve to be as short as what she is in the early betting. She was very good winning the 1,000 guineas prelude. She's been very good in all of her starts to date. She went forward, controlled the race from outside the speed in the 1,000 guineas prelude and kicked away. She has the best turn of foot in the race. Now, those who are very big on their speed maps are keen on her because it looks as though she's going to put herself up on the speed. It looks a low-pressure race, and she's going to be able to use that turn of foot most likely. But I was really taken by 2 of the performances in the 1,000 guineas prelude, namely Thrillstar, who was working 3 and 4 wide throughout the race, still ran home in the fastest 400 to 200 metre sectional and was taking ground off Smart Melody to the last 200, as well as Eldorado Dreaming, who was first up from a spell in the 1,000 guineas prelude at 1,400, ran the fastest last 200. She'll relish getting to 1,600 metres, and she'll take plenty of improvement out of that first up run. The thing is, you're getting $6 or $7 about these 2 horses as opposed to the $2.70, and I think the advantage may really turn in their favour getting to 1,600 metres. And for mine, I'd rather back those 2 to win and back the 2 horses than take the price about Smart Melody, who I think is a risk at the distance.
Group 1 at 1,600 is the Equus Two-Rack Handicap race number 7 for us today, which will run New Zealand time 5:45. And we've got Shillelagh as a $5 favourite in this race. Nobody missed its last start run.
She was pretty hard to miss in the Epsom. That was behind Hartnell, who she clashes with again. He goes up to 59 kilos, though, this time around. And notably, he was third up last time in the Epsom, and she's third up today. She was only second up from a spell there in a track record time. It was a very good race. Hartnell beat 2 star 4-year-olds in D'Argento and Unforgotten. Shillelagh came from a long, long way back, runs home into 4. I think she's one of those seasonal mares. She's very good in the autumn, but she's, I think, even better in springtime. She saves her best for the spring. You look at third up last spring, she won a Cantala stake at Flemington in blistering time. I think she's ready to peak third up from a spell and looks ideally placed with the presence of Hartnell. It gets her in with only 53.5 kilos, and she is one of the better bets on the program for me. I'm pretty keen on Shillelagh.
What do you make of Cliff's Edge jumping from barrier number 15, Ben?
I think he's a good chance. It's a very open race outside of the top couple. Cliff's Edge is a horse that I think would be better suited if they roll forward from barrier 16 and try and make it a genuine test of 1,600 metres. We saw him roll forward over 1,600 metres in an Australian Guineas run 5th behind preparation and run really well. And I think he'll get in nicely here. He's only got 52 kilos on his back, and we know at his best he's a group competitive galloper, so he's certainly got a hope. But it does look a race with a bit of pressure, so he's going to have to be every bit at his best to hold off the late charges of the likes of Shillelagh. Maybe even his stablemate Land of Plenty. We know Hartnell and Noir are also key chances, so an open race.
Okay, we move on to the next of the Group 1s. It sees the running of the Caulfield Stakes at Group 1 level. Wait for age here, and a bit of New Zealand interest around Night's Watch, and today Night's Watch will wear Jerry Harvey's colours, the New Zealand Thoroughbred Holdings colours, not the OTI racing ones. It's 1-8 from 17, has Night's Watch a $10 chance in race number 8. What do you make of the Caulfield Stakes, Ben?
It's an outstanding field. This is, I think, on a sensational day of racing and sensational day right around the country. Of course, got the Everest. I think this is probably the best race in the country anywhere. It's an uncannily weak crop of sprinters in Australia at the moment, which probably takes a little bit of the shine off the Everest. But this is an outstanding field of wait for age gallopers. You've got Humidor. We know how good his best is. He was outstanding last start in the Underwood behind Homesman, who really stepped up. Blair House didn't have a lot of luck there. Tosin Basil really improved off his first up run, should improve again up to 2,000 metres third up. Then you've got the 4-year-olds, D'Argento and Unforgotten, coming through. The Epsom last time out, probably looking for 2,000 metres. Night's Watch is an untapped talent. Ben Battle, that form ties in through Blair House in Dubai. He thrashed Blair House in Dubai. His best form's good enough. The Cliffs of Moher's got some outstanding European credentials. It's a high-class race. I'm not sure I want to have a bet. I think there's too many winning hopes that you could bet with any real confidence, but I'm looking forward to watching it. It's as good a field as you could hope for without Winks. I think anywhere at 2,000 metres in Australia, notwithstanding Winks not being there, it's as good a field as you could hope for.
Caulfield Guineas, $1,600, $2 million on offer. Is it the Autumn Suns for the taking, or do you have a different theory on the race?
No, I think he'd be just about impossible to beat here, the Autumn Sun. He's priced accordingly. He's into $1.70. I think he might start at $1.60. He was very good first up, luckless on a heavy track, 1,500 metres, then dropped back onto a firm track to 1,400 metres in the Golden Rose and was outstanding coming from last to win. Despite, dropping back in distance and going from a wet track to a dry track, you'd think, if anything, 1,600 metres third up from a spell, he's only going to be better suited. And he's beaten the likes of Zusain and Graf last time. I think this is, if anything, a significantly weaker race, and he should have further improvement to come. He looks impossible to beat, and with clear running, I think he will be winning. It might just be a question for the multiples. For the sake of the multiples, I thought Leonardo da Vinci, a good and fast native soldier, and a Hood looked the main chances to fill second, third, fourth, etc. But I do think the Autumn Sun looks clearly the most likely winning chance on the program at Caulfield today.
Okay, Ben, to wrap things up, your bets for this afternoon.
Yep, pretty keen on Shillelagh in the Toorak handicap. I'm going to back both Eldorado Dreaming and also Thrill State in 1,000 guineas. Then a couple of other races I'm interested in. The Scalacci Stakes for the sprinters, good field, but I think Miss Rock flies first up from a spell. She's trialled nicely. She's backable each way at $8 or better than race 5. That's Miss Rock each way. And in the last, I think Rising Red, who you guys would know pretty well, ran second in the New Zealand Derby. He is flying for Trent Buston and Natalie Young. I think he'll run really well in the last, and Lord Fandango each way as well in the same race can run well. So backing Rising Red and Lord Fandango in the last.
Okay, there's Ben Ascari from Racing.com. We thank him for his time this morning on the Punters Lounge live in from Caulfield today. We head to Randwick meeting Cody Levin, race number 1 today. The first from there comes in at 2:30 with a 10-race card. The weather is overcast and the track is heavy. The running rail in the true position. The feature race comes up as race number 7, the $14 million Tab Everest. with the scratchings, Home of the Brave coming out, runner number 7 along with 13 through 18. Runner number 17 does get in though, in Osborne Bulls. Looking forward to the card there today. We're going to take a look at the market for the Everest, race number 7 on the card, and of course we've got 3 $500 bets to give away this morning, and we'll be announcing the winners of those later on in the show. We've got $1,500 worth of bets between Jason Tarnated, Brodley and myself to give away. Shoals, no one missed her run last time out. Straws Barrier number 2, Tim Clark to take the ride, $6.230 is the favourite. Reds L $6.50, $8 for Vega Magic. Brad Gray's on the line from Sydney. Weather-wise, Brad, we've got ourselves a heavy track. Is it going to get any worse? Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Matt. We've been lucky this morning, opened up the blinds and sun is out at the moment. I know they're tipping a little bit of rain, so I was just looking at the forecast before, and a lot of it looks to be coming after the races. So fingers crossed we miss it today, and the track will get maybe a little bit of an upgrade there. So probably playing around a heavy 8 eventually, but we'll certainly be starting on a heavy 9 today. So interesting to hear the market there. Sounds like the punters have finally made up their mind on this race, the Everest, and Shoals seems to be the one that they're rallying around.
Yeah, we've got $6.230 the price here in New Zealand. Just want to talk about the Premier Stakes, the last run, the lead up into the Everest. What did you make of the format of that? Is there some things that you've taken more notice on in terms of getting a guide into today?
Yeah, this is a really interesting race because Randwick raced lightning fast this day. It actually broke the track record by 3.5 lengths, which is just unheard of. So, but even when you scale that back, it's still a really, really hot race. The obvious ones to come out of it are your 3 there. So Tantarinawang ducked up the fence, covered a lot less ground than anything else in the race to win. Got all the favours, won't get that luxury here. Shoals was magnificent down the outside, did all the work herself from last and ran home in a sub-11 last 200 metres, an absolutely flying run. She came right onto the radar, and that's why they rallied around her. But the one I like here, and it seems to have gone unnoticed somehow, is In Her Time. She was first up in this race, just peaked on her run a little bit late there. The other 2 that were around her had a run under their belts already. So I think she's the one that will improve from the run, probably settles a pair or 2 in front of those in the run and handles the wet track. So at double figure odds, she's the one that I'm getting around at the moment. That's In Her Time in the Everest.
I want to talk about the map. Who's your clear leader?
Yeah, good question. It's a really tricky map because Redzel is a horse that is better off in a stalking position, but I don't think he'll be able to get that from barrier 1. He's a very quick horse out of the barriers, but Karen McAvoy knows this horse very well, and if he leads, sometimes he can get a little bit too keen out in front. So I imagine they'd love to get a stalking position and just sit off something. Whether that happens, I don't know. Vega Magic, the blinkers go back on, they're going to ride him aggressively. Whether he has the speed to cross Redzel, I don't know. And then the big interesting piece of this speed map puzzle is US Navy Flag. He's a European sprinter or a UK sprinter, and what we do know of him is that he generally races on speed, but it'll be fascinating to see how that kind of speed over there translates to Australian speed. So I imagine he's thereabouts, but it's just whether he has that tactical speed the first 100 or 200 metres to put himself right on the bunny. But they're your runners. Then you've got the 2 leads ones coming across, probably Luramain and Graf, to add that extra layer of speed. Whether one of them ends up posted remains to be seen. But yeah, it's a really tricky race to find the winner, let alone to map. So good luck to the punters out there.
All right, what can you do for us? What do you suggest we do with our money today?
All right, well, In Her Time, I think we can back in the Everest. But outside of that, I think there's a couple of good bets on the card. We'll start with Don't Give a Damn in the Kosciuszko for the country horses. It's race 5, number 6. So it looks like a race in 2 between it and Victorium. But I see the wet track really playing into this horse's hands. Victorium's first up from a spell. Don't Give a Damn is a month between runs, but he has that really nice base, 1,400 metre run back to 1,200 metres. And we know when we see this horse fresh, he absolutely flies. And at his best, he's good enough to give this race a real shake. I expect him to start favourite. So if you do like him like me, I anticipate or encourage you to take those early odds. Tactical Advantage is in Sydney Stakes, which is actually the Everest consolation race. I think he's about $4.60, $4.80 around that price at the moment. I think that's a reasonable price for this horse. He's been flying for his new stable. He's under the care of Chris Lees, and he's won 3 from 4 since being in that yard. And that loss was a really good one. He gave 7 kilos to the winner. Sharp rising grade here, but he's always given the impression that he will handle group company. He gets a lovely card across into this. He's drawn 1, should trail Jungle Edge, who we know rips along out in front, and they're presenting a straight. I think he's hard to beat. Race 6, number 9. And one of the bit of odds I think the punters can play around is in the Craven Plate later in the day. That's race 8, number 8. Matthew Smith trains this import. Invictus Prince, he ran an absolute cracker first up behind Winks. Ran second with some really good horses in behind him there. Your D'Argentos, your Unforgottens. I think he's been a little bit lost since then. He might look a little bit flat, but he's just looking for that 2,000 metre trip. As I say, he's an import, and he did have some staying credentials when he was trained overseas. So 2,000 metres, wet track should be okay for him, and he's double-figure odds here, so I think he's worth an each-way ticket. That's Invictus Prince, race 8, number 8.
All right, Brad, thanks for your time this morning. Enjoy your day there in Sydney. Well, it's all about the bees today. We've had Ben, we've had Brad, we've got Brendan and Bevan to come up here on the Punters Lounge Live. Stay with us. Mata Mata next.
Find out you can't hold me down. See, I'm the king.
Mata Mata, not only is it one of the busiest training complexes in the country, but one of the best racing surfaces. And today, with 17 mils of rain overnight, we're now on a slow 8 track condition, and Brendan Popplewell is on track to take us through the card there today, the 9-race card with the feature race number 6, the listed Team Williams Mata Mata Cup. Morning, Brendan. How are things?
Good morning, Matthew. Yes, it's a little cold here, I can tell you that much for sure, out of Mata Mata. But yes, 9 races in front of us today. As you pointed out, that feature race being the listed Team Whelan's Mata Mata Cup. Gee, well, I must say there was some big numbers nominated for this race meeting. So even though we've had some scratchings throughout the day, a lot of these fields are holding up, and yeah, a lot of interest around the track condition. And speaking of the track, not too long ago, I caught up with John Otham and did ask him about just how much rain has fallen here over the last 24 hours and how the track could play out today.
Yeah, look, we've come off the back of a fairly dry period, so I guess earlier in the week the track was getting pretty firm, but been 48 mils in the last couple of days, so certainly that's had an effect on the track. I think it was about 17 mils overnight as well, so it's come up that slow 8 this morning. There was 8 horses galloped up on it, and that was the general feeling from the riders. Talking to Graham Stiles, and I guess my own opinion after walking the track, it probably, if anything, might be a little bit on the worst side of that. So certainly with the big fields we've got today, they'll get into the track a bit and I guess make a little bit of a mess.
Yeah, they probably will. All right, well, let's just quickly talk about the Mata Mata Cup as well, John, today, our feature race. Anything come up in the report there we need to be notified about?
There was just a couple of there, 2 deals and heels just got basically taken out of the race halfway down in the group sprint at Hawke's Bay last week, so forget that run, and Sheriff going back to the second day at Hawke's Bay. Probably most people saw that, but certainly a real black book. I had no luck at all and was steaming home when it was all over.
All right, there's John Otham. Stephen Hunt, will come to you now. Since we spoke at the top of the show, any significant moves?
We had a $1,000 bet on Danielle Johnson to take out the Hanui Farm Jockey Challenge, Matt, at a $2.90 favourite price tag, Danielle. So she's got a key booking, a lot of Stephen Marsh runners. In the first is around Vanami. Vanami in that third line of betting has been the best back runner, just purely down to dollars invested. But it's very competitive in those top 3, Grand Eagle, Harbourside and Vanami. If I could give you a lead on a pike runner, Harbourside holds 3 times more money than Grand Eagle, but multi suggests Grand Eagle. So look, all I can say is there's a reasonable even spread between those top 3 in the market. A little bit of specking around Suspense. Treaty will have to get across from a wide gate, do a bit of work, but there's been a bit of specking during the week, got as high as 11, now trading at 8, and a bit of specking on our Katie Cruz 21 and Mr. Bazamore, who does have some rain affected form at 26.
Okay, Liz's Gift, the 9 expected to punch forward out of its barrier draw. Brendan, Vern and me, you and I were working that Wednesday at Mata Mata when Stephen Marsh told us that he had a nice 3-year-old. This is him. What do you make of him with side winkers on today up and trip?
Look, both are key factors, aren't they, Matthew, to him being a chance in this race. Probably the thing that I don't like is that he's getting himself on a slow track again. I think with what we see here, he's awkwardly placed away on the rail, and that was a concern for Stephen Marsh heading into this race because he had a good draw. He wasn't a horse that were going to sort of punch out and just be dominant and be the best horse in the race. So, look, I think he just struggled to just pick his feet out of this ground and really show his turn of foot. So, that's an issue here today, isn't it? With it being a slow 8 this afternoon, and that was a slow 7 when last time to the races. But he's had a run to the races. He has a chance to be able to be sharpened up with some side winkers on, and the more distance is going to help his horse's chances. This is a very unlucky run, though, from last time to the races with Harbourside. Look, if this horse on the outside isn't laying all over Harbourside, you'd almost say that this horse wins the race. Obviously got promoted into second position with that run of Takia and Nagita laying all over that runner in Harbourside, who finished into second spot. Got in front of it in the inquiry room to finish into second position. Did Harbourside. Look, that's the one I ended up leaning for in the race in the end, runner number 12 in Harbourside, in front of Grand Eagle. Just with that rain that's fallen with Vern and me, look, like the horse a lot, and you've really got to trust the judgment of Stephen Marsh. Just the query on the track conditions, and I think we're going to be playing that line a number of times here this afternoon, and also through the 2 into the mix, and Suspense, who did a nice job here when last presented to the races. First of the day, though, I am liking the chances of Harbourside. Matthew?
Okay, like your thoughts there, Brendan. Over to race number 2 we go now, and Baker Forsman runner in here goes by the name of Charlie Rose, runner number 8, $4.40 and $1.80. Stephen Hunt, as we come to you to talk about Charlie Rose, is there any lead, any smart money around the 8?
Yeah, there is. Look, I think she's kind of already found her mark at $4.40, Matt, has to be said. Look, she leads multis and purely dollars invested. She is the highest ranked in this particular field, Charlie Rose, but not getting out of control where we're going to move the price in any time soon. They are speaking a couple. Dream On, which I mentioned at the top of the show for the James Wellwood stable, $8 top fluck this morning, now at $7. A couple they're speccing also with this rain around during the week in the last 48 hours. Moral Mac first up, $18 into 12, and also Like a Warrior, 25 into 13. So they are speccing a couple in the middle market, but Charlie Rose best back runner in a competitive race.
Okay, Brendan Popplewell, Felix Filwar expected to punch forward. You're with the Ballymore runner though, Sound Works. What did you like about it?
Well, gee, I think the track conditions bring her into this race, Matthew. Look, her run last time to the races last Friday certainly was very good, finishing 3 lengths off them into 4th position. She's shown some bits and pieces of form as well on top of the ground, this horse. You go back to a day when she won a super race over the Ellerslie Carnival in a $50,000 rating 65. But what she has shown is that when she can get her toe in the ground is when she is at her best. She showed that when she won at this venue, Tauranga, through the autumn. It was in January when she did win. And was able to get her toe into the ground on a dead 6 track condition. She also showed it in Australia as well when she was able to win on slow and heavy track conditions. Jack Ballas knows the horse really well. I thought off the back of that run last time to the races, looks like she might be at a sort of an each-way backable price at $7.50. But here's DeConning, who put in a big run last time to the races behind Kiji Express. This was out of Taupo. Of course, the winner of this race is, a nice 3-year-old from the Baker Forsman team, and was able to use this race as a chance to just get things back on track. But got to like the way that he finishes off this race at DeConning into that 2nd spot, who really winds up late in the piece. And here's Charlie Rose. Look, the Charlie Rose video is a nice video to look at for 2 horses. Obviously, her finishing into 3rd position. But one of the roughies in the race, and Mod Maud, went a very good first up run to finish into 4th position in this race. Look, this is a horse who ends up finishing into 4th position. He gets down to 52 kilos, Mod Maud, at the back of the field in the Karen Zimmerman colours. But this is Charlie Rose doing its best work out wide to finish into 3rd position over the 1,400 metres. Gets up to 1,600 metres. Digging the track's going to help her chances as well. And you can see why this horse has been supported. Look, a race where you can go a number of different ways, though. But I was happy to have an each-way investment in this race, Matthew, around Soundworks. Runner number 5. Just thought she might have been a nice chance with the yielding track conditions.
Thanks, Brendan. On to the 3rd we go now. GNS Mackenzie Limited Bulk Transport. This over 1,400 metres, and $3.20 here for Sister Beale, $5 Decade. Stephen Hunt, as we bring you in for the 3rd.
They want to be on Sister Beale. Just not sure the slow 8 track conditions. Just stifle betting on the number 7, Matt, in the last, in particular this morning on Sister Beale. That 320 could easily hold up or could even drift throughout the morning, depending how the track plays in the first 2 or 3 races around Sister Beale. Decades in that second line, very solid at $5. John Wick looks to be an obvious pace setter, 3-year-old contesting against older horses, currently a losing result at $11. And Direct Capital, one of the best backed in a middle market up and down the race card at Matamata today, 26 on opening this morning, is now trading as short as $13, Direct Capital.
OK, ValachiDowns.co.nz bringing you the Punters Lounge live this morning, and John Wick out of barrier number 2 with a bit of gate speed here, Brendan.
Yeah, loves to scoot and run, does John Wick, and that's where that horse is best favoured, the 3-year-old, to be sort of trying to use that gate speed and get into the race. Look, Stephen makes some pretty good points there around Sister Beale. Look, I do like the horse, but I have massive queries now on the track condition, rated a slow 8 for her. I think if this track condition had held into that dead bracket, would have been pretty keen to make her my best this afternoon. Look, this is a very good run. I mean, this is a horse who gets back last. Is a race won by one Baker Street. It's Ruakaka with her up front and winning, as we see so often. And this horse makes lengths on them here from the back of the field to Sister Beale. So this is 1,200 metres. She goes to 1,400 metres and really gets into her work late in the piece. But, yeah, not sure now about sort of trying to dive into any sort of price. Yeah, and you can see why punters are keen to get amongst Direct Capital. I've got it at my numbers as well, actually. This horse gets 4 kilos off, drops back in grade from 72 to 65, and doesn't mind the dig in the track. That horse is a massive player in this race, Direct Capital, runner number 2. Gazara is a horse who does step up from the midweek maiden win, but did it nicely, though, from an outside gate to be a chance here. Certainly appreciated the slow 7 when last presented to the races, and Decades is another horse who can be a hope as well. I did like Sister Beale. Maybe let's just get a bit of a line on how these track conditions are playing out each way on the 2 Direct Capital.
OK, we go to race number 4 now, and Not a Bad Idea heads up the top of the book here, taking on Dawn Patrol, who was very good first up, $3.60, $3.80 for Not a Bad Idea. Stephen Hunt, 2 horses that shouldn't mind the slow 8 track conditions.
Yeah, fascinating race. A lot of these horses wanting to stamp their quality heading into possibly Guineas clashes later on in the campaign. Dawn Patrol, $3.60 favourite on present. Not a bad idea. Best bet runner this morning, even though Dawn Patrol held the most amount of money during the week. So there's a change of the tide here around Not a Bad Idea and Dawn Patrol. I wouldn't be surprised if number 1, Not a Bad Idea, knowing that it has slow 9 or slow 8 track conditions in its CV where it's proven in the past, could start favourite later on this afternoon. Not a Bad Idea, and rip him up. Wouldn't be surprised if that jumped a ladder and finished in that second line of betting, and possibly Dawn Patrol finishing in that third line of betting come close. So there's a bit of action to happen between those top 3 in the market. Outside that, it's quite friendly. So a lot of action around Dawn Patrol, Not a Bad Idea, and also rip him up in a nice 3-old 1400.
Yeah, rip him up coming off the back of a length and a quarter second behind Bit Lippy last start. It's by Rip Van Winkle as well, so you'd imagine track conditions shouldn't be too unfavourable. Daughter of Jimmy Shue, Nulli Secundus with a bit of speed out wide here. Brendan, how did you assess race 4?
Yeah, look, she's a horse who's got that outside gate, and she's a horse who's actually run some nice races for Nick Bashar and some really strong races of late. Obviously, you go back through that melt form one a couple of times with her. Blue on Black's a horse who possibly could punch up as well, who did that last time to the races. Not a Bad Idea. Look, this is the horse who ran second, and a desperately close second as well on the Wanganui Guineas. This was off the back of a win over 1,000 metres for the son of highly recommended at Topol when sitting back and getting over the top of them, 1,100 metres, should I say, when he did win his maiden on debut. And you can see him here putting in some big strides out wide, trying to chase down Bobby Dazzler, and it looked like he was going to get that momentum up to win the race. But what you can take from it is he's gone enormous in stakes company. He's having his 3rd run in. He's going to get track conditions to suit, and he's got himself a lovely barrier draw as well. Not a Bad Idea. I can see this horse, as Stephen said, potentially getting into favouritism off the back of those 2 runs. Let's have a look at the runner who created a lot of interest here in the midweek meeting off the back of his trials. He was super at the trials with the way that he won his last trial at Cambridge, sitting midfield and just powering over the top of them. Got to love the way that this horse, once he cleared some traffic and got himself moving, he was too good for his opposition here. Second horse is not too bad in this race in Arrogance, so look, it's not the worst maiden race that he is winning, and that horse out wide and flashing over into 3rd position probably wins a maiden next start. So that's a nice maiden field that he has beaten there, Dawn Patrol, and Opie Boston takes the ride today. He's got some massive wraps on him as that horse, and is the tote favourite and fixed favourite at the moment. Then you get to Rip Him Up. This horse went to Avondale last time to the races and look, took on some quality here. You consider the horses like Bit Lippy, who was good enough to be a stakes winner last season. Nirvana and Fire's been able to pick up the wins as well. And this horse, Rip 'Em Up, does all her best work late in the piece, even though she was pretty keen to, once she got out into the clear air, did a couple of things wrong. She wanted to get her head to the side, but what you could see from that is that she is a horse that has got the talent, as she showed in her Cambridge trial win before going into that race. I do like the chances of Not a Bad Idea. Look, he is a horse that is at $41 for the 2,000 guineas. The horse who did win this race last year was Tiakau Shark, who then used that as a stepping stone towards the 2,000 guineas, where he did finish into 4th position. Put the one on top in front of the 3, Dawn Patrol, and massive respect around the filly in the race, Matthew, and Rip 'Em Up.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's won a trial around Cambridge and then you see the horse just a little awkward there at Avondale going left-handed once again today. Surely a positive around the Go Racing runner. On to race number 5 we go now. The Comag Limited 1600, Blue 22 and Kate Cowan for Jim Collitz, $5 and $2.10. Pacquiao to be ridden by Michael Coleman, $6.50. And Cutting Up Rough, runner number 5 with the 4 kilos off, $7 and $2.50. The tote tells us Pacquiao, Stephen Hunt. What are you going to tell me about race number 5? Is there any lead for the punters?
Best back this morning has been Blue 22. Remains in the same grade when winning on this track a few weeks back on Blue 22. $5 from an opening fluck of $6. So well supported number 1 in the book in front of Pacquiao at $6.50. That remains solid from its opening line. Cutting Up Rough, we had a bet of $1,000 yesterday afternoon at $8, now trading at $7 on Cutting Up Rough. Jian Kwa, now there's plenty of spruik and talk about this horse. Might be the local special to get on during the day. Jian Kwa, second up, Tiakau. Jamie Richards does the training here and does have wet track form. Could have got us high during the week, $12. It's now trading that single figure line, $9. And a little bit of speaking on Manhattan Flame at 16s. But Jian Kwa, BP, have you been tapped on the shoulder while being on track this morning?
No, I haven't actually. There's no one here yet, Stephen, but when I did get here, but don't worry, I'll be going around and searching for you to be able to see if that horse is ready to rock and roll second up, because we saw enough last campaign, didn't we, in Opie's aboard that runner. Look, this is a race where there's some speed, isn't there? You jump, I jump, can go forward. Tweedledee's another horse who can take a position. Look, Motu Man's probably a horse who can go forward maybe over longer distances. Maybe Fresh Up, it could be a part of that early speed battle. Could play into the hands of a horse like Cutting Up Rough, though, as well, with all that tempo. That horse drawn in barrier number 1. Not surprised that there has been support for that horse, with 4 kilos coming off the back with Ashwin Gundasamy doing the riding. Look, here's You Jump, I Jump. I thought this horse could be a chance around here again to try and pinch it. This is a horse who's really improved this season for Joe Waldron. This was last Friday on a good 3 surface where the horse led them up, and it took them... this horse really stuck on gamely to finish into 3rd position, a race that was won by Ticket to Ride. So, look, he's going to give you a sight. He's going to go around at $14, $15, and I just like his chances here today at a big price. If he's going to be in front, that means that Cutting Up Rough gets a great chance to be able to sit in behind the tempo, and like when winning at Topor, was able to come underneath runners and get the win with Ashwin Gundasamy aboard. Like those 2 horses each way, the 13 and the 5, and I suppose we better go and find out if Chiangua is ready to rock and roll as well, Matthew.
Yeah, nice one, Brendan. Thank you. Race number 6, we go to the Matamata Cup, the Team Whelan's Matamata Cup. This is listed level, demonetisation and sheriff, $3 a piece. Stephen Hunt, we had Roger James on a little earlier. You heard what he had to say about sheriff. What do you see happening to this market come 3 o'clock this afternoon?
Well, it's already starting to happen, Matt. During the week, it was all about sheriff when the track was a good 3, dead 4 on the Thursday and Friday. Opened $2.90, got as short as $2.70, and that included a $5,000 bet at the opening line of $2.90 on Thursday afternoon. But it's all been about demonetisation this morning, now that the track's come up a slow 8, and I wouldn't be surprised if this horse started favourite, meaning that Sheriff's $3 line at the moment could drift, and demonetisation could start under that $3 line later on this afternoon. Richie McCorse was well supported during the week, but look, he's not starting here, so there's not too much to talk about him. Outside that runner, there's really not too much to speak of other than the 8% deduction on Richie McCorse this morning. So any bets prior, you'll get that deduction during the week. So best back runner now is demonetisation, and that's held by a $17,000 bet this morning at $3.40.
Okay, Nigel Retz going with Matamata here with Petit Enjeu with a bit of speed. But Brendan, is it a two-horse race or is there something else that you see that could upset the apple cart?
Look, Matthew, I think these two horses are Group 1 horses. Demonetisation, I wouldn't be surprised if he even won a Group 1 this season. Look, he is a horse who has got it in spades, and so is Sheriff. The thing against Sheriff today is potentially these track conditions, but look, they need to sort of try and keep this program going for him. But demonetisation, we've seen him last campaign win the Auckland Guineas in track conditions that were a slow 7. It was disastrous conditions, wasn't it, when he did win that Auckland Guineas? And this is a run, well, heck, it's so good, isn't it, this run from Sheriff first up behind Mongolian Marshall, where he saves ground, and then once he gets out, gee, he gets into his work nice. He is a lovely horse, and even though he's not the finished article just yet, when it finally falls into place, as I said, he is a horse that is just got a good race somewhere in him. So, yep, look, they do look the two, don't they, Matthew? And I'm leaning towards demonetisation with the cut in the ground. I did love his first up run, the way that he worked home over 1,200 metres at Pukekohe Park. Look, the other horse that probably needs some consideration in this race is Deals and Heels. Just so badly hampered when last presented at Hawke's Bay. When trying to get for that inside run, it just didn't happen for the horse. She clearly looked like she had something. Obviously, there was a horse out wide who put them away very quickly in the name of Tiakau Shark, but she could have played a part in somewhere being closer than where she was before she got hampered, and she will like these track conditions, Deals and Heels. Demonetisation for me, though, Matthew, and I have marked them as my best here today.
Yeah, it's probably the My Sky race of the day, isn't it? To see how those two horses go with a view to some spring Group 1s. Over we go, past the Team Whelan's Matamata Cup to race number 7. It is the Russell and Yvonne Green Memorial over 1,200 metres. Rosa Carolina, 280 and 110 for Stephen Marsh and Danielle Johnson. One of many handy rides for her today, Stephen Hunt, hence the big bet on her in the Jockeys Challenge.
Absolutely, Matt, and big chance here on Rossa Carolina first up. Won't mind the fire out of the track. Not sure it will start favourite, even though it's at $2.80 and sitting in that top line in front of Midnight Runner at $3.20. Midnight Runner could easily start favourite from what I'm seeing. Holds 2 times more money than Rossa Carolina and also heads the multis in progress as well, Midnight Runner. So maybe a little bit of a lead I can give there. Overall, it lacks a little bit of turnover, the rating 82 sprint. Sleeping Beauty, just wondering if it genuinely needs a heavy track, even though it's a slow 8 at present. It has been well supported at $5.50, but interesting runner going forward into the program, how the track plays around Sleeping Beauty. And a little bit of specking on Roll the Gold, who's trialled okay going to this race. Could have got double figures earlier today, now trading at $8.50.
Interesting runner in there as well with Glorious Beijing lining up. It's only won the one race from 3 starts, taking on some pretty handy animals here. Brendan Popplewell, how did you assess it?
Yeah, Glorious Beijing is an interesting horse. We didn't see that horse since the Wellington Guineas 2016. It's been 938 days off the scene, this horse, and did trial up quite nicely at Titeko into 4th position. Look, the winner of this race is in this race from last year. I speak of Sleeping Beauty. Does get some weight relief with Darren Dennis taking the ride aboard this horse, and will like the chance to be able to get her toe into the ground, Sleeping Beauty. Look, this is a horse when winning last year, beating Deals and Heels as well. So, look, it's a very similar track condition to being the slow 7, slow 8 bracket. She was able to get herself in front. She dominated the race, and Deals and Heels was able to work home late in the piece out wide. I can understand the money for the 6, though, at the same time as well. The Midnight Runner for Lee Thinnis and Rosa Carolina is a horse who did trial up nicely, sort of wasn't pushed too hard, travelled up under her own steam, and is a horse who has been stakes placed in Australia on wet ground. Yeah, intriguing little race, that one, but certainly the money flow around Sleeping Beauty, Midnight Runner and Rosa Carolina. Sleeping Beauty, maybe a chance here of maybe trying to play around that 5.5 mark for her, like in these track conditions.
Okay, race 8 is the Colchester Engineering Limited, rating 82 over the 2,000, gun down 380, $1.50. Matthew Cameron to do the riding aboard Gun Down. This one was beaten by Blue 22 first up, trialled up behind Nicoletta and Ocean Emperor before that. Baker Forsman, Matthew Cameron. Is there much difference in terms of the weight of money between runners 3 and 11 here, Stephen, or is there something else catching your eye?
Solomon, as it tends to do, Matt, we have a trend around this runner. I think it has a big syndicate involved in this individual. A lot of money comes during the week on this runner. The money tends to dry up on race day around Solomon. Right as it stands at the moment, it holds 2 times more money than Gundown. But I'm pretty confident Gundown will start the best back runner later on this afternoon. Has Sheriff form, which we've already spoken about that individual earlier in the program, at $3.80. Gundown in front of Solomon at $4.40, but I think it's found its mark there, the Graham Richardson runner. Divine Duke, looking for 4 on the bounce, had a little bit of a freshen up. We'll appreciate any rain or any cut out of the ground, which we do have, a slow 8. But I'm still keen to risk Divine Duke today at $8, even though he's rewarded punters in the last 3 outings. A little bit of specking around Wooden Edge, as there happens to be most times. He goes round at $14. Roger That opened at 21, now trading at 16. So a bit of specking on Roger That. And also Switch in Time, $18, has had a few admirers. But best back runner, Solomon, but that will change later on this afternoon, I'm pretty confident.
Stephen, just before we get to Brendan, Podrick lining up in this race with the track conditions getting into that slow range now. He's around that $11 mark. Is that the sort of horse that some punters will be speaking through the day?
Yeah, I'm not sure, Matt. To be honest, a lot of these horses don't mind the given the track. So we've seen a few races that we've already touched on where maybe some of those favourites in that first, second, third line of betting are vulnerable on a slow 8. Where this race in market order, it looks to be fairly solid. Where a number of runners appreciating that slow track. So I don't see too much change around a lot of these horses, even in that middle market round pod race. So at $11, I think that price will hold up throughout the day.
Okay, thanks for your assessment there, Stephen. Brendan, as we hand it over to you for race number 8 on the card, as Stephen has mentioned, it's a pretty even sort of a race. How did you go here?
I like Gundown. He's a nice horse, and with what he showed here last start, in terms of maybe not being quite ready for that race, he put in a heck of a run, didn't he? He carried the grandstand, Gundown. He carried 61 kilos in a race over 1,600 metres for rating 72. So he comes back. He's able to go back in the weights, obviously with him going up in grade today, and he gets himself more distance. I like his chances a lot here. This is his run here, and behind Blue 22, he's got that nice spot. Outside leader, and was able to get rolling at the right time, but he was the horse out of the race that you wanted to follow, wasn't it, in Gundown. He's been good enough to run second behind Sheriff in a Manawatu Classic, also second behind Azzaboy in the Valachi Downs Championship Stakes. Mark the 11 on top, the son of High Chaparral. In front of the 8 in Divine Duke, the 3 Suleiman, and also the 1 in Athena Baby into my numbers as well, Matthew.
Okay, we round out the day with race number 9 on the card. It is the Matamata Veterinary Services Limited rating 65 over 2,000 metres. What's happening here, Stephen?
We accepted a $1,000 bet on Vainglory as soon as betting commenced yesterday afternoon on number 5. $1,000 at $5, now trading $4.40 top line. In front of Prince Jabil at $5. Fly to the Moon at $5.50, the local. Plenty of support around that runner. And Korokanui could have got as high as double figures. Big improver second up here according to punters, now trading 9.
Okay, Brendan, your thoughts on the last?
Vainglory's got some terrific form lines, doesn't it? Obviously running second behind Rough Cut, who's then come out and won on the first day of the carnival. Look, I really like that horse a lot, but gee, I'm taken by Fly to the Moon's run last time to the races as well, Matthew. This was first time over ground at Avondale, and this was on a dead fall surface for Fly to the Moon. Ran into 4th position. Has a good gate here today, and a chance to be able to get the toe in the ground, which we've seen for her, has been beneficial as well. So this is the runner Fly to the Moon when last presented to the races, working around horses. And the first time we saw her over ground, I thought she put in a terrific run. So chance to be able to just take a good spot from the barrier draw, maybe try and lob us position, just one off the rail, 5th or 6th position, and a chance to be able to try and round off her race. And the biggest threat that she'll be looking out for is the number 5 in Vainglory. Mark the 13 on top and Fly to the Moon in front of Vainglory. Didn't Al Jody give favourite punters a massive scare at Waipa? Of course, Aloe Lay went round at $1.50, and Al Jody backed up the trial run from Titeko to finish into 2nd position. Nice run from that horse, and Prince Jabil broke maidens in nice fashion out of Taupo when last presented. All right, best value and also our strategy for the day. My best bet, I'll go for demonetisation in the Team Whelan's Matamata Cup. Value bet throughout the afternoon. I'm going to go to the second race and do like the chances of Soundworks in race number 2. All right, let's have a look at the strategy, and we'll go with Soundworks in race number 2 as an each-way investment. We do like... Gee, there's a lot of gobbledygook on there, do like a few other chances, cutting up rough each way, and also you jump, I jump, also demonetisation as a win bet, and maybe fly to the moon as well in the last race. Hopefully you can try and break all that down and find that hidden code to see if we can find some winners here today, Matthew.
I was going to go for the glasses there, Brendan, but anyway, we'll get that up for you a little later on. Our apologies there. Technology, one of those things. We'll be back with Brendan Popplewell just after lunchtime today. You're with the Punters Lounge Live. Go and grab yourself a coffee. We're heading to Harwater right after this. Valachi Downs could start the day away quite well at Matamata today with Vernon Me in the first race on the card, the son of O'Reilly. We spoke to Brendan Popplewell. Blinkers on today up to 1,600 metres. He will wear the Valachi Downs colours in race number 1. Odeon in race number 10 out of Caulfields, and Vacillator in race number 9 in from Caulfield today. Big day at Caulfield today. Of course, in the first race on the card, Utzon lines up in that. The daughter of course, she's by Charm Spirit out of the Opera House, Zabeel Mir, and she's all white. You can catch that, the first race on the card today from Caulfield, and that is time to go at 10 minutes after 2. From Caulfield, though, let's head to Harwater. Bevan Sweeney is standing by to take us through the card there. Bevan, what's doing in Harwater this morning? Is the weather okay?
Well, it's okay. It's pretty cold, Matt. There is a gale blowing from the south. There's showers about, but none really have hit this place over the last hour and a half or so. Bit of hail this morning, I hear from the team when they were setting up. So it's pretty cold, and there is a very strong breeze blowing into their faces as they turn into the home straight. So that may just have an effect on how these races play out. But overall, having had a walk on the track, gee, I thought it might be slow with the rain that they'd had, but it certainly walks a lot better than that. I think it is clearly in the dead range, and they will get their toe into it. So we should see some pretty good sort of times run here this afternoon. From the forecast, gee, I think we've got out of jail here, Matt. This track, I think, will race pretty fairly across the program.
OK, looking forward to it. In around 5 hours' time is the feature race. 4:40 for the Rich Hill Stud. Taranaki Breeders' Stakes for the fillies and mares at 1,400. Stephen Hunt will bring you in at this portion of the preview from Harwater. Is there anything significant happening across the card?
Not at this stage, not to add to what I reported at the top of the show. With the likes of Ladies First being very well supported, we've opened that double around Mars Bars and Ladies First at $15, which has grabbed a lot of action in the last hour or so. That liability climbing every minute that goes by. But kicking off with the first, Kirkland, a loose favourite at $5.50. These rating 65s. I think there's 4 of them on the program today. A very, very competitive Harwater. Kirkland 550, top line, well supported in front of Humble Pie at 7. A little bit of specking around Love to Keep him, 10 into 9, so a little bit of action around there on number 2. As is Prodigal Son, 10 into 9.50. And also Vesindora at $14 off a top fluck at 18. So a pretty competitive race, but best backed is the favourite, Kirkland.
Bevan Sweeney, it's probably fair to say that Kirkland hasn't been the luckiest horse in the world through his career, has he?
No. Look, it was a black type performer on debut. That was back at Wanganui, and then things didn't go right for Alexander Fields. Being caught wide through the first part of this preparation, went close on a couple of occasions, and then really put it together. You'd have to say, in just a fair race, albeit Vanos and Shady Lady do come out of this particular race. This was Kirkland's to win. He'd been up in 65 company prior to this, went back to a maiden 1,600 metres on a quick back up. Vanos is out wide, Shady Lady's to the rail. They've both gone on 1, but as Teely says, he really powers up late. And look, he's missed a run at New Plymouth through the reverse order entry there, so he has missed a run, but I think ARA would have kept him ticking over, and he's always suggested that he's a horse that will stay. So he's not a big framed horse, but he can go. So I think he's a big player in the first on the program, but $7 each way all day, really. And here's Vencedora. I'll take you back to the performance at Hastings this back in April. Now, if you watched the trial recently, you'd say this horse is going terribly, but I did note that the blinkers went on at the trial, so it was probably just a go-round for this particular horse. This is a nice nice form sort of race. But I tell you one thing, diving through the inside and winning, Peso's also in the mix-up on speed, who went an absolute cracker to just go down to 5 to midnight late on day number 2. So the form lines around Vencedor in that race are very, very strong. So I agree with Stephen. These 65s are pretty tough here this afternoon. Quaddies might be the way to go at short percentages. Look, I'm going to go with Kirkland. Alexander's always held him in high regard. He got a little bit of a sit at Wivor, and he really showed how he can finish off. So he's on top. Then got the 10 Vincent Dora. That was at 18s when the book opened. Lisa Allpress aboard as a big assist. And I think this horse can run a nice race here this afternoon. Red Rascal was at 22 early. Now this horse just got a little bit far back and behind Lambrusco at New Plymouth. I thought the last bit of its work was very, very good. I'm expecting this horse to run a big race here this afternoon, locally trained. And then, look, another one at big price, KTM Marie. It's had one run in this preparation. It gets up to the 2100 metres here this afternoon. It's getting 3 kilos off its back. And it's shown us a bit of quality at times, KTM Marie. So, gee, it's difficult, Matt, the first on the program. But I'll go with Kirkland. I think he may be a horse that will follow through the grades post today.
He's only had 7 starts. He's only lightly raced, but a horse that definitely carries a little bit of a profile going forward. Race number 2 is the BNT Group 1600. This for the rating 65 gallopers, Surrey 550 and $2.10. Well, Stephen Hunt, if a couple of years ago I had have said that you would have seen a high chaparral out of Mackay Diva at Harwood this Saturday, you would have laughed at me. But here he is as the $5.50 favourite. Any market lead?
You're not wrong there, Matt. Yeah, look, interesting runner on my own ratings. It's a very hard horse to price and assess going forward. Just not sure where his level might lie, Surrey, but in rating 65, bit of fire out of the track, the punters definitely have confidence around number 5 at a $5.50 price tag. Clearly the second best back runner, and I mentioned second because we'll come to the best back runner here in Quaff, number 4. Even though he sits in that 4th line of betting, he's now trading at $9. We've just accepted a $500 bet at $10.50 on Quaff. Jonathan Riddell does the riding. I see Lisa Allpress has been engaged on this runner in previous runs, but she's opted for Herengawi at $6.50. But Quaff is the eye catcher here in terms of trading, $10.50 into $9 in that middle market.
Bevan Swaney, what do you make of the speed map race number 2?
It's another muddling sort of speed map over the 1600 metres for mine. Herengawi is the general push forward horse, but I'm not sure who tests Herengawi, and it does show a good strong kick in the run to the line Herengawi if it gets it soft, and I think it probably does. Dancing Oriole, as you see in the map there, may go forward. Adonis is always interesting pattern-wise. What it does, it can go either back or forward. Look, I'm going to show you Surrey, but I'm a little bit with Stephen around Surrey. I'm not sure where he sits. This is a high weight, 65 high weight. He had every chance in the run, and he got there, and the winner just kicked away and left him for dead, and he's green. He's thrown his head up at the 300 metre mark. Look, he has got home nicely enough, and his debut win came the other way of going, so maybe just that way around, just unbalanced him a fraction. He was very, very good in his last preparation. And this is not a bad performance, but this is a tougher race. I don't think there's any doubt about that for Surrey. And the other one I want to show you is Make a Mojito. Now, the blinkers go on this horse today. Look, the draw's a nightmare, clearly, with Make a Mojito, although it will come in with scratchings here. But this is in behind Renee, who showed a good bit of stretch in this particular race. And I thought this is a really nice performance for the next start, really. You can see it just on the back of Renee there. It looks as though it's going to sort of fall out of the race, but it does keep on finding the line under Danielle Johnson, maybe just a little bit green. It hits that uphill straight and actually finds nicely. I think blinkers on here this afternoon. It may just travel up that little bit better and be very, very difficult to beat. So in race number 2, I'm going to go with the 14 Make a Mojito. Draw's a nightmare, but I think it's got the quality to win a race like this. Outside of that, Galway Lil fresh up. I thought its trial was good enough to be in the mix for the Adrian Bull team. 10, that being Brahma Rama. I really expect an improved performance with a little bit of give in this track around Brahma Rama. The win it put up last season suggested it had good quality. I just think at its most recent start on those track conditions in New Plymouth, which I think will be more forgiving here than it was at New Plymouth on that occasion. It's drawn an inside gate. It may pussy up and it can run a race. And then I put in Herengawi. So I'm against Surrey. Stephen makes good points around Quaff. It was stuck down on the inside. Horses were sweeping that day at Awapuni. So it's one of those few horses that came off an inside position and hung in there at Awapuni on the day. So I marked them 14, 15, 10 and 3, but it's another 65. where it could go either which way.
Okay, with Valachi down, standing Savile Row and Zakinto, we turn over to race number 3 on the card from Harwood today. The La Nuva Apparel Master 1600, a rating 72 this is, with Tinkalicious 440 and 180 as the race favourite. Stephen Hunt, Jason Tarn made this horse his best bet on the first call yesterday. Have the punters followed him in?
Absolutely, Matt. Tinkalicious, open second line of betting, now in that top line, and that's only just happened in the last 10 to 15 minutes. $4.80 into $4.40, drawn barrier 11 v Glory Days, who's drawn barrier 1 with Billy Pin, so that could be an awkward gate for Billy to contest around Glory Days at $4.60 from an opening line of $4.40 this morning. All Black Magic second up. There was no money for this individual coming up from the south first up a few weeks back, but a big improver second up from what I'm seeing trading wise, well supported at $9. Sarah Banday has supporters at $10. Second up was unlucky first up. And also a bit of speaking on Renee, which sits in that third line of betting, will go back into that top line at $7.50. But yeah, all the action around is Tinkalicious now being a new favourite in front of Glory Days.
Okay, Bevan, what do you think about the speed map race number 3?
Well, I think Choice Attitude should be able to get somewhere near the lead from that middling sort of gate. Manhattan Street can push forward. You've got Barter Bullet, Razor Edge, but I think Choice Attitude is the one that will find the front. It's what's willing to go up and sit outside it, really. You'd think Barter Bullet holds a position. Renee's drawn to get a soft trip. Glory Days will go back. So I thought, again, this is an interesting race as well. Look, Glory Days has all the ability. I think the track conditions here will suit her right down to the ground. And I'm going to take you back to Hastings on the first. Now, this is in a very good race in behind Charles Road. This was over 1,600 metres. She'd had a soft win at Waverley. She really got home against the pattern late in this particular race. So I think that this horse is going to really go on with the job. I thought maybe just a little disappointing behind Mongolian Marshall, beaten 3 lengths, but again, it was against Patton on the afternoon. That's a really good run in that type of race against the open handicappers for 72 here at Hawara. And look, gee, I just find it hard to back Tinkalicious. Tinkalicious is a horse that finds trouble. This is the 7th last start, which she's probably still trying to get out, but she got in a very similar position at Awapuni, back inside. On that occasion, Rosie managed to get it to the centre of the track, and it took a pretty smart sort of horse in Mars Bars to beat her, but look, she's got a fair bit to offer here in the run to the line, Tinkalicious, and she just never really gets a crack at them. So she'll need a little bit of luck from 11. You'd imagine she's back, but she might be able to find the centre of the racecourse, so in the mix. I'll go Glory Days over Tinkalicious. Outside of that, I thought All Black Magic was a big improver, and I mean a seriously big improver into the race. And look, I put in also Hank Moody. He tried up really nicely as well, so he's getting 4 kilos off his back, and we know he can run a race, but look, there's other chances cleaning in this race. Renee's the one I've left out, but gee, it did clean them up nicely at Waipukurua. You can't have them all. 2 to beat 12, 3 and 6, Matt, race 3.
Yeah, it'd be easy if we could have them all, wouldn't it? We'd never lose. Let's go over to the next. It's race number 4 on the card, featuring Mars Bars, and we got a really good push from Alan Sharrock earlier around this horse. $4. Bowden was costly last start. Stephen Hunt, what's the trend with it today? Has $3.20 been its price throughout?
Yeah, $3.60 during the week, but $3.20 on opening this morning. A lot of focus on the 1 and the 2, the 2 and the 1, and Mars Bars and Bowden, Matt. They probably hold around about 80% of total turnover on option 404. I think Bowden will start favourite. There won't be too much between them on close between Mars Bars and Bowden. Mars Bars just touching on his price during the week, $4.50, now trading at $4. King's Cross, interesting runner. I'll just touch on this runner purely because it's first up. Would have probably likely to see a bit more money if it was forward enough to take out this race over 1,200 metres, so maybe it needs the run. King's Cross at a $5.50 price from an opening line of $5. Windsor solid at $7.50. Rockin' Affair has been solid at 16s, currently a losing result, and I'll keep Classy Lane for myself, but all the action is on Bowden and Mars Bars. A nice race over the 1,200 metres.
Bevan Sweeney, do we go again with Bowden?
Well, I see no reason why Mars Bars can't compete, will do the dose again, getting 3 kilos off. It gets him with 56, so it actually gets an advantage in the weight scales against Bowden here this afternoon. He's just hard going at the moment, Bowden. And this occasion had been caught out wide. You see him in the yellow, white and green in the centre of the track. He'd done everything wrong to this point, so Mars Bars does have a soft sit on Bowden's back, and he is very brave to hang into where he got to in the race. But I thought she showed an exceptional turn of foot, Mars Bars, and if she can get a bit of cover in one slot at them, she'll go close to winning again at double or a good price. That's Tinkalicious out wide, so she is going really nicely. So I went with Mars Bars on top. I think from that, Jewel Room will get a sit back in the field. If he gets one crack at them, she can really let down strongly. Over Bowden, if he gets any sort of cover, Lisa Allpress, the booking there is important. So another senior hoop aboard there. If she gets cover and he settles for her, he certainly is a nice horse. Stephen mentioned Rockin' Affair. That trotted up beautifully, and it's won at Awapuni through last preparation, outstanding. And look, Wins is a fair horse as well. He took down Cyclops fresh up at Wanganui, and he'll go places as well. 1, 2, 11, 7, race 4.
Over to race number 5 on the card from Harwater, and let's bring up the market for this one, and features a pretty handy sort of a field too, with Wafer down the bottom, $6 and $2.20. Jonathan Parks to ride, Hundy a month, and Father Lenehan both at $7. Runners 2 and 4, Hundy a month with a 4 kilo claim. $8 for Impress Juicy, and that's with Lisa Allpress on. Remember that horse from lined up as a 2-year-old on Melbourne Cup Day at Otaki a couple of years back. Stephen, one of those markets again that we see a $6 favourite. Is there a lot happening here, or is this a sort of race that we'll be looking for race patterns and maybe a market lead closer to the time?
I think you're spot on with market lead closer to time, Matt. The fact that there's 4 or 5 here that resume, the likes of Wafer, Father Linen, Rosetta, Midnight Story, all in that top 5 or 6 in betting. Wafer heads the market at $6. There's enough support to suggest it's forward enough for a race like this. Hundy a month at $7. She has that same quote as Father Linen. Empress Suzy at $8 off a top fluck at $10. I think this horse has had 2 or 3 trainers. Now with Josh Shaw, improve a second up, and Lisa Allpress, the key booking here around this horse. Probably one of the best back runners up and down the card today at Hardware in that middle market is Empress Shuzi. Dashar Shin at $9, the only other runner in single figures, but one to watch as the afternoon progresses. Just check on those prices throughout the day.
Bevan Sweeney, Wafer, fresh up. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I like her. She's in the mix for me. She can fly home, but then she just didn't get across the line. Last preparation, she put up some super performances, but you like to see them winning. Fresh up, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. Father Lenehan, fresh up. I want to take you back to his debut performance at Wanganui. This is quite some win for this particular horse, and look, he didn't really let you down post that. He was always honest. He's really nicely bred out of Platinum Princess by O'Reilly, so you watch him, he comes off a trailing position, gets to the centre of the track, and he really just lets down and gives them a go-by. So, look, he showed a bit of quality here. Again, as Stephen said, you'll have to watch the market to see how much confidence is with this horse. He has had a couple of quiet trials, and Lisa generally uses trials just as a fitting up and a bit of a race day experience for them. So he was good that day. I think he's an each-way chance from an inside draw. He's got Johnny Riddell on. That's always an assist. And, yeah, I agree, Empress Sushi. This horse was at Grant Searle, John O'Bennett and Holly, and now with Josh Shaw. Sam O'Malley was down to ride, so I'm understanding I haven't picked up that change of ride. At least if Lisa's in the saddle, she was on Cyclops, and that is a really good booking. But this particular horse got home really, really nicely behind Windsor. You see Cyclops wins it out wide, fighting at the finish, but Empress Sushi through the centre put up a really nice performance and was scratched Thursday at Tauhur Nauko to run here this afternoon for the better money. So that might be a lead. I went 4 Father Lenehan, 11 Empress Sushi, 14 Wafer. And look, I've been with Sky High Ra 2 for a period of time, so I'm not going to get off the ship at this present moment. 4, 11, 14 and 13.
OK, on to race number 6 on the card, and we go feature racing here with ladies first. And Stephen Hunt, we bring you in here for the punters that have just joined us on the Punters Lounge Live. What price did you put up with ladies first when these markets came out?
Yeah, you see they're trading at $3.40, Matt, off a peak of $4.20 when betting commenced on Wednesday afternoon. So they've had 2 or 3 days to invest on ladies first. Probably took 2 or 3 hours to see where this horse was going in terms of a market lead. If Gianqua was the market mover in terms of a local special at Matamata, Ladies First is the one at Hardware at $3.40 for the Cup today over the 2,100 metres. Outside that, there's really not too much to speak of. Nymph Monte, $4.80 out to $5.50. Bizwinkle, solid in that third line, is $6, so respect around the 10. Maygrove, $6.50 out to $7.50 with a 61 on his back. Jonathan Riddell does the riding there. China Star, 8 out to 10. Samson, $8.50 out to 9. So a lot of these horses have drifted the market on the heavy support on Ladies First. Holds around about 80% of turnover in what we thought initially was a pretty competitive race, but we can sometimes be wrong here in Petone, Matt.
We're all human at the end of the day, aren't we, Stephen? We're all human. Some of us can't even say we're all human properly. Bizwinkle going forward. Bevan Sweeney, talk to me about this.
Well, gets in the lightweight. Apprentice claiming here. Should be able to roll along. Horses in good form, so I couldn't really argue if you've stuck with the ship through the run to Avondale. But look, this is a real trust the trainer moment with Ladies First, because she was disappointing at Hastings. I don't think there's any doubt about that. She travelled up maybe one position more forward. I heard Aidan saying on the voice call yesterday, well, she was in a perfect position to run a race. 5 to Midnight's come off her back and gone past her, and then beaten pace so late in that particular race, and she's found very, very little. So I thought that was concerning. But Alan, as we know, can turn them around in a week, 2 weeks. So you have to take trust in the trainer. So she's on top. I'm not 100% convinced, but if she does come back here this afternoon, that'll be a great thing going forward for the staying ranks in NZ and across the ditch. Nymph Monte, hard to back for me. I wouldn't be putting a cent on Nymph Monte, but it's in your selections because it has put up some amazing performances, but it gets a long way out of its ground. Look, Gobstopper with the blinkers on. First time this preparation. He's a New Zealand Cup winner. They're heading that way again. He'll be on speed. Pretty tough when he's right, that particular horse. And then outside of that, look, I'm going to throw you, I tell you one thing. They put a lot of money on second up at Hawke's Bay. Missed a run at Hawke's Bay on the third day due to a float incident. She'll love the toe on the track here at 52 kilos. You're getting 40 odd bucks. I wouldn't be leaving that out of my first fours. But I mark them 2, 7, 8, 11.
Nice one, thank you. We got the first leg of the quaddie there, race number 6. Race number 7 on the card is the McCurdy Trucks 1400 for the rating 82 gallopers, and Monrecur 380, equal favourite here with King Cougar. What's happening in this market, Stephen? Monrecur, Roger James gave us a decent push for this horse a little earlier on, but King Cougar's certainly in form.
Your market move is King Cougar from a top fluck of $4.80 during the week, now $3.80, holds around about 3 times more money than Monrecur, but I'm staying firm on Monrecur. The fact that now the track has come up a dead 5. If it hit that slow 9 or slow 7, slow 8 bracket, we would have made King Cougar clear favourite with drifting Monrecur, but we're holding firm on the Roger James runner at $3.80. Hartley well supported, 6 into $5.50, and also a little bit of specking around Prosylane Princess, 10 into 9. Just a bit of a watch for that horse first up.
3.5 years since we've seen Mighty Solomon in the winner's circle, and he gets in here under 58 kilos, 26 and 650. Jason Tan suggesting yesterday on the first call that he was worth at least a couple each way, but plenty of pace here, Bevan.
Yeah, there is. I can't have Mighty Solomon. He's done it to me too many times, Matt, to be fair. Look, I wondered about with a $100 betting strategy, just play King Cougar and you play Monrecur in this race and go home with a bit of a profit in your pocket. But look, Hartley's got good ability, hasn't he? He's been shown that over a period of time. Break my stride if he actually fronted up will be tough to beat as well. I mean, well, Porcelain Princess, you'd think she'd need further, but here is King Cougar. That's Gifted Power on the inside, Manhattan Street in the middle, and King Cougar now. He's just developed beautifully, this horse. Now, they put the claimer on because he would have carried 60 and a half. I don't think that's a massive concern because he's pretty easy to ride now. He'll love his toe on the ground here this afternoon. And look, he's flying, speaking to Mike Breslin midweek. So he'll run a race. He's got a draw to be right there. I think Warama will use that draw. And here's Monrecur. Now, Stratocaster's canted up to the centre of the track and put them away really nicely, but Monrecur's in a difficult position and trying to clear a bit of air and get a bit of galloping room so it can get into the race, and I thought it was very good late in this particular race, and I thought, well, that horse is really going to improve out of that. It wasn't the most taxing run you'll find, and look, Daryl sat pretty. I don't want to sit too much more on that particular horse with Monrecourt coming at him. So, yeah, I like Monrecourt. I like King Cougar. The other two for me in the race, Porcelain Princess is the big improver out of this race. Watch you later on this preparation. 9 Hartley Willie's going very, very well. So 10, 1, 11 and 9, race 7.
We're taking through things here on the Punters Lounge Live, brought to you by Valachi Downs. Standings Zakinto and Savile Row. Live racing kicks off 17 minutes after 12 today with the first in from Matamata. 2 to go from Harwood. We go to race 8. The feature, the Rich Hill Stud Taranaki Breeders' Stakes. Living on a Prayer, 381.60. 460 for Darscape Princess, 8 for Yoon, the daughter of Savabeel and Art Deco. Given a push by Alan Sharrock this morning. $9 and $3. This features Stephen Hunt. So what can you tell us about the girls in race 8 at Harwood?
I just feel punters are betting into a bit of a sense of timing around number 7, Living on a Prayer v Darscape Princess. I got no doubt they probably match each other on ability. Maybe Darscape Princess going forward has a touch more ability being Group 1 place from what we've seen thus far. But again, sense of timing around Living on a Prayer. He's had 2 starts this time in around Darscape Princess, who does resume. And at this stage, I would have wanted to see a little bit more money for that runner being from the Fraser Orette stable. But clearly might be running, well, clearly it will be running for us from what I'm seeing. Over Living on a Prayer, 5 into 380, Living on a Prayer. Darscape Princess, $4.60. Yoon, 7 out to 8. And Art Deco. The boss giving Billy Pinn an opportunity here in a black type race. Top luck $10, now trading at 9. Second best back runner this morning on Art Deco, the local, and a little bit of specking on Acceleration, 18 and 16. But best back runner is the clear favourite now, Living on a Prayer.
What are you expecting from Darscape Princess here, Bevan?
We'll actually put a call into Fraser on the drive up, but he's obviously driving the truck. Had a couple of trials. First one had done very, very little, so Dan rode on that occasion and just went round for a run round. Second trial, he got more serious, put Jonathan on and she won. Look, I think she'll love these track conditions. If she walks in here and Tony says she's ready to go here this afternoon, look, I think she's got more ability than Living on a Prayer, and that's saying something. I think she's a Group 1 mare. She'll be well in the markets in the Captain Cook and the Thorndon Mile, maybe over 2,000 metres at Ellerslie through the carnival there. So, look, she took 1 to come up last preparation. So there is a hesitancy there, but if she walks in here and she's ready to fire, she's a big, strong, impressive mare. You know, you're getting a price. I'm going to go Living on a Prayer because there's a sense of timing around here. She's had 2 runs in here this afternoon. She's 3rd up. She's probably being set for this type of race. So she's the one on top, but Darscape Princess can give her a shake because she's got really good tactical gate speed as well. So she could push forward and get outside Art Deco here, who I think will use the gate and has a tactical advantage over a few nice horses in this. So I had 7 to beat 3. Look, Rui Amani impressed me fresh up and did nothing wrong last preparation. And look, I threw it between Henny and Nicoletta. Hearing Andrew Forsman on the radio this morning, I might favour Nicoletta. He expected her to run a race this afternoon. I had 7, 3, 6 and 1. Throw in the 2. I think Nicoletta's probably the upsetter in the race if there is one, race 8.
Yeah, $10 the price around Nicoletta to be ridden by Jonathan Riddell out of Barrier 8. Race number 9 is the Walker Bros Transport 1400. Let's have a look at this. Tipping point 5.50 and 2.05. Rosie Myers for Adrian Bull. Tipping point lines up in the last by Road to Rock, a 5-year-old mare. $6 for Coco Bell and Kotahi. Then we're out to $7 for the Ripper. Stephen Hunt, another one of these markets. We've got a loose favourite, tipping point 5.50.
Yeah, tricky, hard to give a lead to the punters, sorry, Matt. Tipping point $5.50, loose favourite. In front of Kotahi. Kotahi holds a fraction more turnover than tipping point, even though it's 50 cents higher at $6. Coco Bell at $6. The Ripper at $7. Field of Fire at $7.50. Gladstone Bell, a few admirers this morning on Gladstone Bell at $7.50 off a top fluck at $8.50. But I think we're pretty happy to let the punters tell us where to go and who will start favourite in this particular race, Matt.
Okay, we'll be looking for a lead. Speaking of leads, Percy's Gem and Son of Surf pressing forward out of barriers 6 and 8. Kotahi with a bit of pace, and that's Louis out wide as per the norm, expected to press across. How do we round out the day, Bevan Sweeney?
I'm a fan of the Ripper. He's a lovely horse. This is authentic Paddy's bro. He looked good at the trials at Foxton. He went down a short margin and he'd won a jump out in between times as well, I understand. So, look, if he's ready to rock, fresh up. He'll put in a run here this afternoon. Look, I'd tell you to bet Kotahi, but he just won't run straight. I understand they'll put a pricker on this afternoon to try and straighten him up. He should have won his last 2 starts. He just hasn't been able to stretch out. Tipping Point is a horse they waited for a long time to get to the races, and it went such a run at OTEC. He blew them off the racetrack, and then she raced with a bit of credit post that. Trolled up quietly in behind Darscape Princess. I thought outside of that, well, it gets a little bit messy further down the book. Princess Raj is one I've always had respect about for Rachel Kramer out of Cambridge. And Dance of Money is at ridiculous money. She is a horse who will love these track conditions, no doubt about it for me. Quickly, a strategy for you. I was going to have a little bit on Kirkland in the first on the program. He was 7 earlier. He's now 6.40. And the second favourite, well, they're out to $7.90. So 25 on Kirkland, 50 on Monrecure. Oh, my producers put 30 on Darscape Princess. I'll go with that. 30 on Darscape Princess, only if she walks in here fit as a fiddle. So we may be able to flick that somewhere else if she's just carrying a bit of condition. She just may be. And my best bet is Monrecure, 50 to win. We've got some great betting fields here this afternoon, Matt. It's going to be a little bit difficult to take home everything that we'd like to, but I think on occasions, if you're on the right one, you're certainly going to have enough to go out on a Saturday night.
What if we had that $30 and put it on something in the Everest? Putting you on the spot a wee bit, have you got something for us in the Everest?
Not in the Everest. I was very keen on backing Shillelagh, only because I was on her to place the most recent start, and she got held up and flew home for 4th. I love Shillelagh. I also love Unforgotten. I've been with Unforgotten for a long period of time, and backed her in Caulfield Cup markets a long time ago, so I'm hoping she gets there post a really good performance this afternoon. But I'll go with the green and gold of Christopher Grace and Shillelagh if we're heading across the ditch.
OK, thank you, Bevan. Race 7 at Caulfield, the 2-rack handicap runner number 4, Shillelagh. They're only getting $5 and $2, taking on Hartnell. Will be a pretty big ask. We had $500 bet giveaways on Facebook. All you had to do was jump on there, comment Matt Cross, Jason Tarn or Aidan Rodley. Here are the winners. We can announce the $500 bets for each of our people. Aidan Rodley has got Mike Ryan, Jason Tarn, Nick Howie and Alison Jeffcoat with myself. Jason Tarn's bet, I can't remember who Jason Tarn had, but you will know. I had Red Zell, I think Aidan had Scholes, and Jason Tarn might have been Vega Magic. He was Vega Magic, so there we go. $500 bets to all 3 of you, and we've got the Everest coming up a little later on. It will be all live here on TAB Trackside 1. That is all we have time for on the Punters Lounge Live this morning. A massive thank you to Valachi Downs, Standings, Zakinto and Savile Road. Until next week, we'll catch you then, but after this, Trackside 1, live racing. We head to Matamata and Harwood. Stay with us.